I may be in Hawaii, but I can't stay away from you gorgeous people.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey everybody, welcome to No Vacancy, not so live, pre-recorded as I'm on vacation right now in Hawaii. Hopefully, as you're watching this, my children have decided not to sacrifice me in a volcano, but it's always a chance. So we're going to see what happens. We got a great discussion today on DEI and what's going on right now. What is the state of executives when we're talking about African Americans here in the hospitality industry? But before we get into that, I want to remind all of you folks, listen, we love that this show is sponsored by Radisson Hotels America. That's right. They may be becoming part of the Choice Hotels family of brands, but that only means they are going to be behind you more than ever. Now, there's no better time than right now to think about investing in a Radisson Red, a Country Inn and Suites, a Radisson Blue, some of those other great products, which are going to complement the Choice family of brands. Reach out to Phil Hugh, our friend over there as Chief Development Officer. Find that at RadissonHotels.America/EN-US/development. Of course, tell them No Vacancy sent you. All right, let's get on with today's show. As I said, we're going to be focusing on a couple of really serious issues here today. And according to our guest today, hotels are still missing the mark in Black representation. So let's bring on Dr. Miranda Kitterlin-Lynch and, I don't know what happened there, and Leon Thomas. It's great to see you two. How are you today?
Doing well, Glenn. Good to see you. Thanks for having us on.
Wow, the energy is infectious here, guys. I'm very I'm really excited. Doctor, you're an associate professor at Florida International University. You've been following this story for quite some time, but I'm not sure how you and Leon connected. How did you get together on this issue that I know is so important to you both?
It was really such a great opportunity to connect with Leon. I was hosting a panel on DEI in hospitality, and he attended it virtually and then followed up with me afterwards on LinkedIn, just making the connection. And it's been such a good one since. Yeah,
that's excellent. Leon?
Yeah, well, I attended the DEI conference there at Florida International and had some really good takeaways. And I said, Miranda is someone that I need to connect with. I think there's some things that we could do together. There are some synergies here. And so, as many of us do, I reached out to her on LinkedIn, and either you're going to get a total ignore or you're going to get a yes. And sometimes that yes is just a light, a nice, yeah, good to connect with you, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't that way with her. And we've been able to collaborate on some things, and it's worked out well.
That's great. I can't imagine anyone ignoring you, Leon. That does not seem like it's a possibility.
It doesn't seem like it, but you would be surprised.
All right. So what's going on here? Because we're recording this coincidentally the same day. I had a great conversation with Global Development Officer Noah Silverman of Marriott, right? And he was talking all about the initiatives that they're doing, trying to help African Americans get more into hotel ownership. We saw the Marriott family do the big donation to Howard University, for example. So on the surface, it seems we're moving in the right direction, but sometimes what we see isn't always what we're experiencing. Doctor, what's the reality of the situation here?
Well, it would seem that we're not making any progress. If anything, the recent Castell report shows that we may have lost any progress. Right. So it's frustrating because we do see a lot of public statements in support of this movement, yet we're not seeing the outcomes.
Right. Leon?
One of the things, Glenn, that the brands and hotel companies have really pushed the last 7, maybe even the last 10 years is Black ownership, right? And you see development folks that work for every brand that specialize in, sometimes they call it emerging markets or secondary markets or whatever it is. And they've done an okay job of bringing in Black owners.
Right.
But my concern is, where are the Black managers, the black
Right.
general managers, right, where we can really make some changes in communities and neighborhoods by having people move up in positions, and that I don't see. We did see some brands make appointments to have um, black board members in the
Right.
last couple years, but that doesn't help Main Street. And so I'd like to see more blacks in management, property level positions.
Right. So, Doctor, what Leon is saying that I mean, we see a lot of black folks that are working at the property level, but
Right.
we're seeing some sort of ceiling that's preventing those individuals from making it to general managers or department heads at larger size hotels.
Correct. We know that there is a population of Black workers in our industry, a large population, but we're not seeing them making it to the top.
Right. So what do you think is behind all of this? And one of the things that you point out in this article is something that just rings extremely true. The whole notion that one student that shared with you that many black employees feel like they have to work harder to prove their worth. I've seen that with women in the workplace, and it doesn't surprise me that I'm seeing this with black people and probably other folks of color too. Leon, where is this coming from? What's the reality of the situation here?
It's hard to pinpoint exactly where it's coming from, but
Mm-hmm.
typically things like this, decisions and thought processes, attitudes, start at the top.
Right.
Now, is that the top of the ownership group? Is it the top of the management company?
Mm-hmm.
Is it within the brands themselves? But it's somewhere at the top where they're not saying, we need to bring these people along and nurture them and help them become managers and get them to do more than what they're doing. Glenn, I am a product of a management training program when I worked with Vista Host Hotel Management.
Mm-hmm.
And several of us that were going through the program at the time, we've had successful careers.
Mhm.
And I look at others in the companies that they work in, the ownership groups, and I wonder, what happened? Why is
Right.
there was a pride factor to it back then that these are my people and they're going to be success stories. You just don't see that now. So I got to think it starts at the top.
Yeah. Doctor?
Yeah, I agree. And I think that there's a lot to be said for the need for mentorship.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of studies that have shown that people are more likely to organically mentor others that look like them. Okay. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And if we've got this population of Black employees, but no one's reaching out to help them up, then
Yeah.
that's a problem.
Yeah. That's really unfortunate, but you're absolutely right. I think what we're really talking about is here we need to move from lip service to leadership on this particular issue, right? So I think, Dr. Kitterlin-Lynch, we're really talking about maybe an unconscious bias that's playing into this then. Obviously, there is conscious bias, but I think for folks that are trying to do the right thing, there's this unconscious bias, which goes to what you're saying. People want to mentor those that look like them or have similar backgrounds to them. Leon, that's the type of thing that seems like it's really programmed very deep into our DNA, right? So how do we start to get past something like that? Because you're always going to recognize people that are in your community, I think, than that are not. And whether or not we like it, if I like to see some other Jewish guys, I feel a little bit more connected to them than people that aren't, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure, absolutely. I think there are a couple of things that as an industry that could be done. One, HR departments often have incentives for employee recommendations. And
Right.
so if you have a team full of white employees, it is highly likely that they're going to have a lot of white folks in their network to recommend for positions. I'd like to see that reach out more toward minorities to say, if you know of a minority, a Black person that would be interested in a position with us, please let us know. And we're going to up the ante a little on that referral bonus. The second thing is I'd like to see brands take leadership on this. Brands provide incentives to their hotels. Some brands provide incentives to some of their hotels for things like frequent stay signups. A guest joins one of the frequent stay programs, the hotel gets a discount after a certain number of those folks have signed up. Why not do something similar in terms of minority management? So the hotel has a management training program and they have a 50% minority participation rate. Give them some reductions on their fees. That's just one example. There are ways we can make this change.
Right. Doctor, it strikes me that I wonder, and again, I'm just anecdotally speaking, I don't have any evidence, maybe you do, but I feel like when we went into the COVID period, and there were one of the things that I hear on Facebook groups and stuff that I'm trying to get across to owners and operators is owners and operators said, we're family, we're family, we're family. COVID happened. A lot of people got walked out the door immediately. I'm not casting blame on anyone. We all know that certain tough decisions need to be made. But an unintended consequence of that is people feeling betrayed in a lot of sense. People not necessarily wanting to go back to the hospitality industry. And if they do, maybe they do it begrudgingly. Do you think perhaps that Black people left the industry a little bit more so than other groups, which is perhaps why there seems to be less progress now? Or is that not really connected at all, in your opinion?
I don't have any definitive proof to back that up. It's possible. The reality is so many people left the industry.
Yeah, I know.
For other opportunities and probably will never come back. Being that.
Do you feel then, let me change the question a little bit. Do you feel then those displaced workers that left because of that sentiment that student said that they have to work harder to get recognized, that maybe there's a higher percentage of people that just said, forget about it. I'm doing well here at this other place that I've gotten to. I don't need to go back. Is there some potential that people have self-selected themselves out of the business because of that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I was actually speaking to a student of color yesterday who was with a hotel property for 6 years. The pandemic happened. She immediately was laid off. And when they wanted her to come back, they were only offering her the entry-level salary that she had started at way back 6 years ago.
That's ridiculous.
And she said, I loved my job, but
I
can't do that. And I'm not doing that.
Why would you? That's disgusting and offensive, particularly in the environment we're at right now, where hoteliers need to be paying people more than they ever had before.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's fascinating. Leon, you're nodding your head here.
One of the things that I see a lot, and I'm going to focus on social media, a lot of hotel companies, management companies, ownership groups recruit via social media. And one of the things they do is they make posts that talk about how great it is to work at our company, how great it is to work in our company at the hotel, how cool it is, what a family environment we have. And they show images, they show pictures of the employees.
Right.
And they show a screen full of white folks.
Right.
And then I think, well, why would a Black person have an interest in going there? So let me give you an example without mentioning the company's name.
Good.
This company does contract sales work for hotels. They put a picture online. It said, this is a great place to work. And they showed 98 people.
All right.
98 people, one person of color. Someone responded to that post. They replied and said, you need to add some color to that organization.
Right.
So I reached out. To the owner of the company and said, if you're ever in need of some recruiting assistance, I can help. Answer, we're doing okay with it. I replied, 98. Where the Black people at?
Yeah, right.
There's been crickets since then.
Right.
Crickets.
Wow.
Even though those types of things make people say, they don't want me there. So we need to even change those types of things that happen.
All right, I'm going to ask a difficult question. I feel like, Doctor, the last couple of years, the political tenor in this country has been very, very difficult. People have been emboldened with hate and racism and all of that in particular. Do you feel that emboldenedness might be part of the reason why we're moving backwards instead of forwards at this point?
Well, as someone with a uterus, I think that we've certainly moved backwards on lots of things in our country. So you might want to pass it to Leon.
Yeah, Leon?
Yes, we've moved backwards, and I think the political climate has hurt some. I think that the previous president made everyone feel okay by
Right.
saying everything and doing things. And therefore, when that happens at the ultimate leadership position in our
Hmm.
company, other leaders in our country and other leaders in corporations, they see that, they hear that, they watch how their employees respond to that, and they think, well, it's okay. We don't need to do anything. We can just make a statement and not follow up on it. No
Yeah,
one's going to watch what we're doing.
that's right.
Hey, we have that guy as president. We
Hmm.
don't have to worry about anything. So yeah, do I think the political climate has affected some? Absolutely.
Interesting. I'm just thinking of these things as we're talking right now because it's such a complicated, insidious issue, and it's so hard for us to get out of. All right, so doctor, let me ask you this question then. If we've already understand that people feel more comfortable talking to people like themselves, how are you able to forge these incredible connections with all of these minority students? It seems to me, from what I know about you, it's really, really super important and the centerpiece of everything that you're doing as a professor.
Yeah, it's very important to me, and I think it should be
Yeah.
important to a lot more people. And then maybe
Yeah.
we could move the needle a little bit. I don't know. I've just always been a professor that's very student oriented. I'm very pro
Yeah.
student, and I see my students struggling with these issues, and I want to do everything I can help.
Right. Leon, then how do we break down those barriers to find that commonality? Right.
Yeah.
Because if we all like silo ourselves, but we're all people, we're all Americans, we all like to eat, we all have all these things. How do we connect better on those particular issues so we can find places of commonality so we can move forward together? I mean,
I think it all comes to building better relationships, better
hmm.
one-on-one relationships. That's where it starts. And I'm going to give you kind of two quick examples.
Hmm.
I attended Robert Morris University back in the early to mid 80s, and
Hmm.
I developed a great relationship with Dr. David Sanoka.
Hmm.
He's still there as the department head of sport management. We had such a great one-on-one relationship then that I learned some things about him. He learned some things about me, and we were able to keep that relationship tight and have
Hmm.
tough conversations.
Right.
I can remember him telling me, listen, you need to get your grades up. Here's why.
Right.
Because people are gonna be looking for folks like you. Leon, they're gonna be looking for black people. And
Right.
I want you to make it. You got to keep your grades up. Don't screw this up, right?
Right.
Good relationship turned into honest conversation, okay?
Yeah.
The second thing is this. When we build relationships, it's hard not to help a friend. It's hard to deny someone that you have a
Right.
good relationship with an opportunity. And I think even in the workplace, there are ways to build better relationships. If I have a
Right.
good relationship with a white
Right.
supervisor,
Hmm.
they're going to want to make sure that I make it,
That's
that I get that next opportunity.
That's right, because that goes back to what we were talking about with the circle that you're hanging out with, and it's like, hey, such and such job is open. So like, I know a person, and
Yeah.
you know a person that's immediately going to come to your mind that you have that relationship with, that you might have gone out and been social with, and those kinds of things. And if we're not able to break down those barriers, then those people aren't going to be immediately thought of, which relegates a whole lot of people to having to work harder to get more noticed, which
Mhm.
takes us back to
And,
that part of the conversation.
and
Yeah.
it goes outside of work also, right? Think about in our communities, where we go to church, synagogue,
Right.
mosque, where we shop, who we
Hmm.
communicate with, who our neighbors are,
Right.
right? If I have a white neighbor that lives down the street, when they move in, I'm supposed to be the guy that goes over and says, "Hello, how you doing? I'm Leon. Welcome to the neighborhood."
That's a lot
You
of
know?
pressure, dude.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. But everybody has to be able to do that, right? To just
Yeah.
take that small initiative and see for the black community to see, you know what? There's a nice white guy. He doesn't bite. And for the
Right.
white community to say, you know what? He's black. Some people have said some things about him, about blacks, but you know what? I'm going to say hello. You know what? Leon's pretty cool. Those
Yeah.
small things will help us get to where we want to go in a
Yep.
larger issue.
Doctor, I see you nodding a whole lot.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it needs to be intentional on everyone's part, right? It shouldn't be just up to the Black employee to form a relationship with their white supervisor. The white supervisors should be intentionally forming relationships with their employees, right?
Yeah.
So companies are not going to change unless people are taking action, right? Like
Yeah.
doing the thing.
All right. So, Leon, I know you've already gone over some certain things, but what are some of the things that us as individuals do to make a difference today and into tomorrow?
hmm First, Miranda hit on it, is be a mentor, right? Everyone wants to have a mentor. So that means just picking one person. So if you are a leader in your hotel, if you're the director of sales, a white director of sales, even in your hotel, identify a minority employee and let them be the person that you are going to
Mhm.
mentor. You're going to teach the business to them. You're going to help them be prepared for that next opportunity. That's one. And the other thing is this, is to always make sure that as we're building relationships, that they become so close, so tight that we can have real conversation about
Right.
what needs to happen. We can't sugarcoat things, and it's easier if we have good relationships.
Right. It's hard not to sugarcoat things, man, because one of the things that I get accused of all the time is being direct. It's a
Uh-huh.
weird thing. Isn't that what we're supposed to be? Right.
Yeah.
But there's
Right.
these social mores that prevent that from happening. Doctor?
Yeah, and I think that you bring up a really good point that with cancel culture, people are so
Oh,
afraid to say
gosh.
and do the wrong thing, right? So as a white woman in America,
Right.
like people think that I should be afraid to talk about this topic. But
Right.
if we're all afraid to talk about it, how does anything happen?
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you know, when Miranda and I first met, you've heard the story about how we met, right? I'm looking on the screen and I see a white lady with everyone else is black or another minority. And the way they were talking about her and the conversation that was going on,
Hmm.
like she's got a good relationship with all of these folks, right?
Hmm.
Glenn, you and I saw each other for the
Yeah.
first time at AHOA. I
Hmm.
watched you interact with different ethnicities there at AHOA. So you get it, right?
Yeah.
Y'all get it and the importance of it. And we just need more people to understand the importance of what needs to happen here.
Yeah. And you're really missing out if you don't embrace all of these different people. The only way I've been successful in my entire career is to love everybody that's out there. Everybody's got some good. And if we're going to hate somebody, I want it to be for really good, valid reason, not because of how they were born. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Any final words, folks, before we wrap up today? Doctor, we'll let you go first.
Well, thank you for allowing me to have this conversation with you, first of all. And any conversation where I get to learn something is valuable. So thank you. Um, just do the right thing. Just do the thing. Don't just talk about it. Do the thing.
Right. I like it. Just do it. Enough talk. We got to start doing. Leon?
When we were researching and preparing for the most recent article, I talked with Craig Poole, who is the
Yep.
president of Reading Hospitality in Reading, Pennsylvania. And one of the things he said was an organization shouldn't need to make statements about how diverse they are in their new program and the programs that they have going on. They just need to make it a part of what they do. And
Mhm.
everyone needs to do that. It's not about creating a diversity department or a DEI section of your company. It's about thinking about it, and as Miranda said, just do it. Do the right thing. Just do it. Stop talking.
Right. And I should say, Craig Poole's an incredible individual. And our friend of the show, Kyle Allison, did a documentary on him called Follow Me and I Will Be Behind You. Take a moment, go check that out at realhouse.org/hospitalitymd/follow me. Worth seeing. We've had him on the show before. I'd like, good to give them a good
And
shameless
I got
plug.
to tell you about Craig. Craig
Yeah.
hired me for my first hotel job.
Wow.
Craig hired me in 19 something
Yep.
as a night auditor at a Hampton Inn at the Pittsburgh airport. And so what you'll see in that
Right.
documentary, that's real about Craig. He's just a top-notch guy.
I've never seen so many great testimonials, and from people of all different backgrounds are represented in there. And it's amazing what one man can do to not just transform the hotel, the people within it, but really the entire community behind it as well. Absolutely fantastic. Dr. Miranda Kitterlin-Lynch, Leon Thomas, thank you so much for being here. I look forward to helping you help make this issue more visible in the future. Thank you for everything that you're doing out there. We really appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Take care. All right, so let's wrap this up. I've got to get back on my vacation, which I'm on because I'm not actually here right now. So remember, guys, if you're listening to us, why not watch our show, right? You can find us on Anthony's LinkedIn page, Facebook page, my respective LinkedIn, Facebook pages, all of that kind of social media stuff. You know how it works right now. And if you're watching us, why not listen to us? Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. You know where to go. He's at Anthony Hotels. I'm at Traveling Glenn. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on. And we're hoping I wasn't thrown in a